Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you so much for watching the Once an Orphan podcast. I'm Jasmine, and my guest today. I am so embarrassed that I have to even say this. I have been wanting to speak with this guest today for the longest, and I was too afraid to ask her because Tarcia Smith is the host of the Adoption Journey podcast and the co-founder of the Black Adoptees Meetup. And I wanted her story so badly. And I said, Tasha's not going to want to be on the receiving end. I was like, I'm not going to even bother. So, and just this past week, after Atlanta, after Chicago, I finally get the courage to ask her. And she's like, wait a minute. Why are you now asking me? And I was like, would you have done it before? She's like, I've been wanting to do this. So now I feel like a fool, but I'm so glad to be speaking with the host of the Adoption Journey podcast and the co-founder of the Black Adoptees Meetup, Miss Tarcia Smith. Tasha, forgive me? You forgive me?
Maybe. We'll see. I'm playing. I'm joking. Hey, girl.
Oh my God, I feel so foolish because I'm like,
As you should. As you should. As you should. I was like, that's crazy work. What are you talking about?
I know. And for the longest, I mean, if you all know Tasha and you've seen this podcast before, Tasha interviewed me over a year ago on her podcast. And I really wanted to jump right in after that. And I was like, she's gonna say no. That's really what I thought. And now we're
Crazy.
here more than a year later.
Well,
Absolutely.
maybe it just needed to not happen till now. I'll go with that. I'll go with that.
That's
Because
probably it.
and for anybody else that's just not asking me, I'm not gonna say no. Because why would I say
I know,
no?
but see, when you do your podcast, and if y'all have not seen the Adoption Journey podcast, hop
Did you
on over to YouTube, like, comment, share, subscribe. The way she does this thing, it's so natural. And I was just like,
I
how do I
thank you for
come?
the compliments, but that's
No,
crazy.
I was like, well,
That's
how do I come behind how you did my interview and do one for you? Like, how do I make it just
you
as
come
good now?
behind and do what you do, and
Yeah.
you do well. That's the answer to the question, and you do it well. Thank
Thank
you so much
you.
for having me.
Of course.
Finally, well,
Finally.
look, I'm
I know.
gonna
I'm not
mess
going to
with
live
you.
that down. It's okay. I'm not going to live that down. I'm okay with that. I'm just glad that we're here because Tasha, what connects us, not only that is, are we Black, but we are also connected through adoption.
Yes, we are. And I want to warn your listeners. This is what happens when friends go on friends shows. So y'all just excuse us because I don't know what's
Right.
about to happen here.
Exactly.
So
Because really none of this is going to be edited. This is just us freestyling. I
yeah,
mean, we
yeah,
know each other. We love each other. We are text talking and phone conversations and sliding in DMs like, girl, did you see? So we can skip all the pleasantries and jump right into it because
sure.
this is our jam. And now you are able to tell your adoption story, which you do talk about when you initially started your podcast. And it's going on, what, 3 years now, right?
Yeah,
Going on 3 years.
going
And
on.
you
I'm
started
at two and a
talking
half
about,
years. Yeah.
yeah, you started talking about your adoption story. And you didn't even so much, you got into the meat of it, but didn't get into the meat of it because before you knew it, people were like, hey, I want to tell my story. I want to tell my story. I was one of them. Hey, I want to tell my story. And you kind of like just started interviewing different people from all over this country, all over the world to
Because
tell their stories.
originally, the Adoption Journey podcast was supposed to be 3 episodes. Those first 3 episodes. That is the only thing I had planned on doing because I was like, oh, I'm going to tell my story. And if you go back and watch it, that's why it's broken up into like little 20-minute segments because I really could have did all that in 1 hour
Yeah.
because that's all it was really intended to be.
Mm-hmm.
And God said, not so. Your plan is cute, but here we go.
Really.
And people
So
started,
now,
like you said, people started inboxing me. And I was
yeah,
like,
yeah. And see, and I told you this before because by the time I got ready to start talking about my adoption story openly, I just ran on over to YouTube, and you were like one of the first pages I followed. And I was like, wait a
It's
minute.
crazy.
I was like, so she's not only talking about her own adoption, but all these people are talking about their adoption stories. I was like, how do you do that? I didn't know how to do it. And then I saw you and I was like, oh, shoot, like this is crazy. Again, that was another reason why I was like, she's not, because I'm looking at what you do. I'm so serious. I'm looking at what you do and the people that you speak to. And I'm like, how do they do it? How are they doing this? I didn't know. And all the while, God's timing. See, God just didn't want it to happen.
That's yeah.
Can we
Yeah,
go
yeah.
with that?
Yeah. Here we go. Yeah, we're gonna go with that because that's gotta be what it is. Because oh my gosh, it's gotta be what it is.
So crazy. Tasha, what made you want to talk about just your adoption story though? Like what made you want to start the podcast and talk about your story?
It was just something inside of me, and I had never done that before. I had never done anything like that before. If anybody knows me, like for real, I do not want a microphone. I'll dance all day. I don't want a microphone. But there was something really inside of me, like, tell your story. And at that point, I was 11 years into having found my birth mother and that side of the family. And so I was like, let me tell that story. And so that's what I did. But what I didn't know was what was to come. Because you could not have paid me to believe that it was about to be what
Right,
it's been.
right.
Because when the first person inboxed me, I remember telling my husband, I was like, somebody wants me to interview. I don't know how to do that. He was like, you better figure it out quick. I had never
Right.
interviewed anybody before. Like, this is not my.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
So
okay.
it
I
was
guess
just
that's what we
really
doing.
the timing. 11 years after finding your biological family, you said, let me just do this. And it just blossomed.
Yeah.
You always knew that you were adopted though, right? Because you
Yes.
said you didn't look like anyone.
Right. Uh-huh.
So you got to walk us through that
Okay.
when you realized that you didn't look like anyone, and then the spelling word, and then all of this. So let's talk about that.
I've always known, even probably just subconsciously, my mother is very fair skinned. My mother's lighter than you. And so that all by itself always stood out to me. I remember being a little girl and holding my arm up against hers, comparing our skin color and comparing our hair because my mama is light skin, long hair.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she's that girl. And
Right.
I didn't look like that. And I want to say, because I really have had a couple of years at this point to really think on it. I think it was, I want to say, I think it was Annie because it was around that time. And I was, I love music, I love dancing. So I had seen Annie, I had the little soundtrack at home. So I think that's what made me aware of what adoption was.
Yeah.
And one day I just asked, am I adopted? And she said yes. And she looked real crazy, but she said yes.
Mm. So, but when you realized I didn't look like anyone, because again, what you said on your podcast in the beginning, back old school, they gave us spelling words. We had to know how to spell and define the words. And one of the words you had was
Was
adoption.
adoption. I had that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you had to look this word up, you learned the meaning, and then felt like, oh, maybe I'm a part of this
Maybe.
adoption word.
Yeah.
And you asked your mom, and you said she just looked crazy like.
She did. So much so that when I talk about that, she does not even recollect. She doesn't remember it. I was like, oh, I remember it. I was
Really?
like, I remember it clear as day.
How old were you when you asked her? Like
Probably
when you
about
said,
7 or 8. So I
yeah,
was a little girl.
yeah,
When, because I asked and then I was like, oh, okay. And
yeah, right, and just moved right on.
yeah,
Yeah.
little girl.
Were you their first child?
Hmm. Yes.
Did they have any biological children?
Mm-mm. No, they had let me see, they had been married 7 years by the time they adopted me.
Wow. Do you think if you had not asked that they would have held on to that, or she would have just waited until you were a certain age?
She would have told me. I don't know how or when, but I do believe she would have told me.
Yeah, yeah. And see, you're like me. You had a good adoption experience, right? You were
I did.
just shown love,
Mm-hmm.
no crazy abuse or
Mm-mm.
anything like that. Because
Mm-mm.
as we
Mm-mm.
know, after Atlanta and some of the people that we speak to after Chicago, some people had some very traumatic adoption
Yes.
experiences.
Yes.
And thankfully, that
That's
is
not
not
my
our story.
testimony.
Right. That
Mm-mm.
is not our testimony. And you had just gotten to a point where in life, after life hit, right? After you became a mom and all of this, you were like, so who am I connected to? Let me find out this and go through this process.
Right. I always wondered growing up because and they would spoon feed me information age appropriately.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's how by the time I was, in my early 20s, why I had all the information that I had because they had been spoon feeding it to me over the years.
Wow. And so when you say they spoon fed, what were some of the things that they shared with you about what they knew?
That my birth mother was 15. I think that's one of the first things that they told me. I've always known I was born in Chicago. That was never a secret. And then eventually they told me that I had a brother that was 2 years older than me. Um, Eventually they told me that it was my maternal grandmother's. Uh, I don't want to say if I want to say idea, but it was
Mhm.
she's the one that placed me up for adoption because my birth mother was a minor.
Yeah.
Um, oh, and the adoption agency, the Children's Home and Aid Society of Illinois, which I
Mm.
don't even know if that it still exists at this point.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that's all the information that they gave me. So, and then they actually gave me my what they had. So the paperwork that they gave me also said what something they never told me, but on that paper it said that I spent the first 24 hours with my birth mother. Um, and it had like my birth. That was the first time I ever learned my birth weight. Is when they gave me that because I grew up not knowing my birth weight.
Wow.
That's the first time I found out what time I was born. That is on my birth certificate, but I never paid attention to it. I remember seeing it on that paper.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, all that little,
It's crazy because the moment you're adopted, all of that information is erased and they issue a new birth certificate
right,
with your adoptive parents'
right.
information. So that was really all I had to at this moment. I still have not ever ordered an original copy of my birth certificate because
Oh,
I really
really?
just don't even trust New York to get it right. I'm gonna be honest. I'm,
Okay.
I'm like, if I order a birth certificate, they're gonna send me what I already have, and I'm just like, oh my god. So that's another story. So now, 15 with her second child. Did you ever get to a point in processing your adoption where you understood why you were placed? Because 15 with the second child, did you ever come to understand that, or
I always had that in my head. 15 with, I was the second child at 15 without knowing anything else. That all by itself made sense to me. But I didn't know the story. I had not met them. I hadn't found them. But 15, I was your second child. Got it.
Mhm.
And it was just, I often say, I just was never angry about being
Yeah,
adopted.
yeah,
And I know some people are, and some people are, they
yeah.
feel abandoned.
Mhm.
I'm not saying I don't deal with abandonment
Yeah,
issues,
of
but what I
course.
am saying is that I didn't feel any of those things. Because, like I said in my earlier episodes, I was living my best life.
Right.
So,
Yeah, yeah. And see, that's another thing where, we connect because I was ashamed to be adopted because I associated that with abandonment. So I always kept it to myself. You didn't, but my adoption experience was really, really, really good. My parents they loved me. They loved me how they would love. Like I've seen them love me in
Yeah.
ways that they've loved their, everybody else. So it's not like I've felt differently. You never felt differently. So you had a
Mm-mm.
good adoption experience
I
while
did. And
everybody
even from
else.
extended family, and I'm
Yeah,
just saying extended for the purposes of the show, but
right,
yeah, no one ever showed any difference. I didn't feel like it was like I
yeah,
had been actually born into this family. That's the type of
right,
experience I had.
yeah. And it's so crazy because you would think, because I grew up with, oh, you look just like your dad. No, I don't. How can I? But when he was feeding me and giving me everything I asked for, I guess, you know what they say, when they feed
You
you, you
feed them
start to
long enough, you start to look like.
right, exactly. And so it's still shocking because I said this before. One of my aunts, one of my father's older sisters, saw me a few years ago, and she was like, "Girl, you look just like your daddy. If you ain't here, she ain't got none." And I'm like, "Auntie, I'm adopted. You you know that I'm
Right.
adopted." But so I'm wondering, because you said your mom was fair skinned, but your dad, he was closer in complexion to you.
Hmm.
Did that, because I know you wanted to make the connection with mom, but at any point did you ever feel like, oh, I just have dad's complexion?
I was told as a little girl that I looked like him.
Really?
Hmm. Until my sister came along. And then I stopped hearing it altogether. And then she heard it all the time.
Really?
And she's
So
also
okay.
adopted. But
She's
that's her
also
story.
adopted. Gotcha, exactly. So it's just the two of you who were
Hmm.
adopted?
Hmm. And we're
Ah,
9 years apart.
wow. And was this because of infertility issues?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Um, mm, I always wonder how that looks and how that feels to people who are not able to naturally conceive children, and their next resort is to adopt. But we in your opinion, do we need adoption?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some feel otherwise,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I understand and I believe that adoption, we can have healthy adoptions. We absolutely can. You and I are both products of that. We can have healthy adoptions because, and you know my story: drug addicted mother, one of three sisters. The sisters were in no shape, nor would they have wanted to take me. Grandmother was expecting to pass away sooner than she did, and it was just kind of like, so where was I going to go?
Right. And
You
that's
know,
why I say it is. And, like you just said, maybe the first resort is to try and find family, but that's not always a
yeah,
thing. And sometimes that child is in a place that
yeah,
they don't need to be.
right, exactly. Did you ever ask, when you got to a point when you wanted to talk to about your adoption? Did you ever sit down with your parents and say, um, "I want to search for my family. I need more answers." Were they okay with that?
They were okay with that when I finally did it. Early on, when I was trying to do it, not so much, but in hindsight, I think they were just trying to protect me because I was like 18,
Mm,
19. And I think it was more of them being protective. But when I finally actually did it in my early 30s, um, at that point, they were very supportive. They were so excited. And I remember when I actually found my birth mother, my mother was like very emotional and teary eyed about that. And so, and she is the person that, like, she was between her and my husband. Like, that was my support system
yeah, yeah.
going through all
Um,
that.
and that was your mom. Did your dad feel the same way?
My
When
dad's my dad's a dude, if you know that.
so it was just kind
He
of like,
was
yeah,
happy for me. But my dad's a dude. He was
right.
like, oh, okay.
But see, I asked that because, really, as a daddy's girl, I know that if my father was still living, and I would have had to keep my search away from him. I
Nah.
honestly feel like that because my dad would have been like, no, you don't belong to them, you belong to us. And so a
Mm-mm.
friend had asked me not long ago, um, would I have told my, no, if my father was still living, would I have still searched? And I was like, yeah, but I would have kept it from him because my dad did not play about me. He did not. And I just
Mm.
feel like had I came to him and said, Dad, I'm finding my biological family, here's what I learned, he would have been like, who? We are your family. And I would have had
See,
to be like, I didn't
that's,
know.
and you got to be careful with that. I hear you, and I get
Mhm.
it. But as an I'm not one, but speaking to adoptive parents, you got to be careful with that,
Yes.
because
Yes.
there is a whole nother family out there
Agreed.
that your adopted child
Yeah.
is probably curious about.
Yes.
They want to see that genetic mirror. They want
Yes.
to know why do I do what I do? It's called
Yes.
DNA.
Exactly. Yeah.
Why do I move the way I move? DNA.
Right.
And so that kind of stuff. But on the flip side of that, I do remember telling my mom early on, and out just reassuring her, I'm not trying to replace y'all. I'm
Right.
just trying to
Right.
figure out
Yeah.
me.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And that's the thing. When you really do have a good adoption experience, there's no way in the world that my adoptive parents can be replaced.
Oh, absolutely not.
No way.
No,
Absolutely not. But
no.
it's not that adoptees are probably curious. They are curious.
Oh,
And
they are definitely
it
curious.
doesn't matter if they find out when you're young like we did, or if they're 50s, 55, because there are some LDAs out there who are
Yeah,
finding out they are adopted in their 50s.
yeah, that's wild. But
That
yeah.
is insane to know that you can lie to this child their entire life and expect them to be okay. And like you said, you wanted that genetic mirror. So you found your brother. And I mean, y'all look just alike, girl. If you put a beard on your face, y'all look just alike.
But that's not the real genetic mirror, though. We do,
Y'all do.
but it's
You
the
look,
other side. It's those girls.
oh,
It's the other side that I found later, but we'll get there. But yes,
really?
me and my brother do favor. But I will tell you, when I met my birth mother, I was disappointed because I
Why?
didn't look like her the way I wanted
Yeah.
to look like her.
Yeah.
And everything that I had made up in my head that she was going to be, she was none of it.
Mm,
And it was like I was disappointed
yeah. Yeah.
because I
Um,
found, I, but I didn't have verbiage for this early on, but I found a broken person.
mhm. At a mom at 13, a mom at 15, she would have, by the time she was 15, she had already experienced some serious levels of
A
trauma,
lot,
right?
a lot.
To be giving birth the second time at 15? All right. So, and and then you have another brother,
He's younger than me.
younger than
He's
you, right?
11 years younger than me, but I didn't know about him until I found them.
Yeah. So then when you say she was broken, you could see that. Did you see that in her face?
One of the first thoughts I had was, whew, life has been hard.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you what's so funny. So when I met my birth mother, she flew to Atlanta from New York to come see me. And my husband and I were standing at the escalator waiting for her to come up. So when I saw her from a distance, this is the honest to God truth, I said, "Oh, she lived a hard life." I
Mm-hmm,
just whispered it to my husband. I said, "Oh, she lived a hard life," because you could
mm-hmm.
see it.
You could
I
see
mean,
it. You could see
when
it.
you are severely using drugs and all of that, you're gonna look a certain way. I mean, it
Yeah.
just is what it is. What did you find about your birth mother's story? I mean, was she essayed? I don't even know if you could really say the full term. Was she essayed
You
or
know what? I don't know because uh, she never talked.
yeah, yeah.
We were constantly on a how's the weather
Mm,
type of relationship. And not because I didn't probe,
right.
but because she just couldn't.
Yeah.
But all again, all of this is in hindsight.
Yeah.
But when I was in the thick of it, I was frustrated. I
Mm,
was angry. I was like, why won't she talk to me? Why won't she answer me? And then it took some years, but then I had to go, oh, she probably never thought she was going to see you again. That's one.
yeah.
And then here you come with all these questions of stuff that she had buried deep,
Yep.
like,
Yep.
and that's two.
Exactly.
And the information, like on my original birth certificate, the only thing it says about my birth father is an age 17. That's it. No name, no nothing. So when I asked her, she gave a name, but I would later find out that name was not right.
Oh gosh. So now,
So,
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so she was never very forthcoming. So I had to rely on relatives to kind of tell me what they remember, because I was a family secret on this side of the family. If you were not her age or older,
Right.
you did not know she was ever pregnant, including my brother, because he was only too little to remember. So I was the family secret. So when I showed up, the older ones were like, I mean, everybody came to see me. And when I went to my grandmother's house, my grandmother apologized. But and I didn't meet my birth mother right away. It was like a year later because everybody else was still in Chicago. She had relocated to Alabama. But she just couldn't have those conversations. She couldn't answer those questions, or didn't want to answer those questions, or genuinely did not remember,
Yeah.
because she too had a history of drug use and all the things. But I only know that from talking to
Right.
family members.
Wow. As I'm listening to you, I'm bugging because I'm like, oh shoot, that sounds like, my birth mother. Um, we talked, right? Here's the thing with us. We talked, and by the time I found her, like you, she was hoping that she would take all of that to her grave.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
people knew about her was that she had only had one daughter who you met in Chicago, and no more, right? So we would talk about TV shows, and she and I both love crime documentaries. We would talk about, oh hey, did you watch the first 48, and did you see this? And we would talk about what the weather was like up there and what it is down here, and that type of thing. So when I would get around to asking questions like, who's my biological father, she gave me a name. And I said this before in your podcast. She gave me a name, and I was like, that's not true. I felt it. I was like, that's not true. So of course, when I did DNA, the name that she gave me is nowhere connected
Yep,
to.
that's my story. No.
So I'm saying to myself the same thing as you, and I'm like, okay, she either didn't know, or she's really taking this secret to her grave because, in drug use, let's go ahead and be honest. Women did what they did for their next fit,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. They did what they did.
Um, and that could have been the case.
The name that she gave me, actually, me and my brother, we we joke about it. I'm like, that might be your daddy. Because he doesn't, that might be.
But you and him have the
We
same
don't
mother,
know.
same father, right?
We thought we did because that's what she told us. So on my early shows, I do say that because that's what she told us.
Wait a minute. So because y'all look so much alike, I would really think he just looks like a male version of you. You look like a female version of him. So y'all only share mom.
Her. Yep.
See,
Didn't
you
know
say that.
that till, and yeah, I wouldn't know. It's so crazy. I started the podcast in May of 2023.
Mhm.
By November of 2023, I would find my birth father, which in May of 2023, that was not in the cards. But it was November 2023 when we found out, oh, we only share her, because I had taken the DNA test.
What do you say? Dana be out here telling on
Dana
everybody.
be out here telling all the secrets.
Baby.
Because and then my brother took one because, um, like before he took his, what prompted him, he was like, oh, well, is that my father too? Because of what we were told.
Right.
And then we found out no.
Okay, give me a second. I always have to, Like they tell the kids at the school, catch a bubble. Right. So, so you two, so who he thought was his father was not.
No, he never knew. Well, I'll say this. He also was given the same name that I was given.
And that name is not connected to him either.
Well, we don't know.
Oh, you
It's
don't
not
know.
connected to me. We just know for sure it's not connected to me.
Oh, gosh.
He has not taken the time to do enough digging in his
Yeah.
DNA test to figure it out.
Right, right.
If he dug enough, or if
Yeah.
he gives it to me, I could probably figure it out. But
Yeah.
that's
Wow.
his story. That's his.
Yeah, and I feel the same way about my brother. Sometimes I just want to slap him because, I told you I found him 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And he's just like, man, I ain't worried about that no more. And I'm like,
Yeah. That's my brother too. Yeah.
What you need to be worried about it? What are you talking about? Okay, but everybody has their own journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now
My brother says, "You keep trying to take me with you. I don't want to go."
You know what? Because I swear, I feel like men are afraid of what they might find, and what they know is just enough.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between that XY chromosome, right? Because we are completely different, and we are going to get down to the bottom.
Figure it out. All of it.
I'm going to figure it out. And I tell my husband all the time, I'm like, oh, so I found out this. I feel like I'm getting closer, but I'm not going to stop until I figure it out. I'm going to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
If it's the last thing I do, I'm going to work hard and I'm going to continue to figure it out. So now, Tasha,
figure it out. I'm sorry.
So now this is crazy because now that we're really talking and getting into your story, so she wasn't very forthcoming. She gave you names that you found out was not the truth of who your biological father is. And so you find out who your biological father is while she's still living.
Yes.
Did you ever say to her, hey, who's this?
Yeah, sure did.
You did?
Yes, I called her and I was like, hey, so I want to let you know that I found my birth father and his name is blah, blah, blah. And she goes, oh, yeah, you do look like him. And I was like, yeah, I do. And then she was like, all right, well, I'll talk to you later. Thanks for letting me know.
That was the conversation?
Yeah.
Tasha, you messing me up.
That was
so
it.
hold on a second. All right, let's go back. How long ago did you find your biological father?
November 2023.
And that was all she had to say?
That's it.
You end that phone call, and what goes through your mind?
Okay, because by then I was starting to have a peace with who she was.
Yeah.
And learning how to show her grace. So at that point in the game, because I found them in 2012, this is now 2023, and I've been dealing with this for years. At that point, I'm like, cool. I'm not even surprised.
Yeah.
I didn't know what she was going to say. I can honestly say I wasn't expecting that, but when that happened, I was like, that lines right up.
Right.
Yeah, it lines right up.
Wow. I remember when I found some second cousins on Ancestry. This would have been 2018, if I'm not mistaken. And at the time, my birth mother was still living. And I called her and I said, hey, I'm on Ancestry and I have some second cousins, and they are telling me that this man could possibly be my birth father, mainly because of his connection to New York. I was like, and I sent her a picture. I was like, is this him? She was like, no, I don't know who that. I could feel how defensive she got. And she was like, I don't know who that is. Your birth father was a fine man. And I'm like, okay. But who you say and what the last name you gave and what I'm finding is there's no matching. And I just said, okay, because she had gotten so, like, her tone changed and everything. And I don't understand why they think it's okay to keep that from us. That is, I'm just, I just cannot believe the conversation went that way, because I feel like at some point that probably would have made me angry. And it no different from how, like I'm dealing
I
with my
felt some
adoption.
type of way, but it was still like
Yeah. Yeah.
it lines right up with the
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
So when you met your biological father, did he know about you?
Okay. So when I met him, he had about 7 years prior had suffered a stroke
Mhm.
and was bedridden and in the nursing home. So by the time I got to him, he was pretty ill.
Yeah.
And so I was the family roomer on that side. And what I mean by that is I am his oldest child. And so he eventually did marry and then had all my siblings, but I'm the oldest.
Mm.
But there was a rumor that that little girl, who no one seemed to even remember, um, had a baby girl by him, but nobody ever saw the baby girl. But they heard she was pregnant and had a baby girl. So unfortunately, by the time I got there, all the aunties with the real tea had already passed away. So I'm getting information from cousins. Oh, well, auntie such and such said this and she said this and yep, and here you are and da da da. And you look just like a, and yes, I found my whole face on that side of the family. My father
Really?
and my siblings. And in particular my sisters. And so because cognitively he was in and out,
Of course.
so he didn't have a recollection. I showed him her picture, didn't ring a bell. But what I did find out when I found him, the age difference,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
girl, they wasn't dating. I don't
How
know
old?
what it was.
Okay. How old was he when
Okay,
you
so his birthday was the day before my birthday. That's one. Isn't that crazy?
crazy?
And when I was born, the day prior, he had just turned 22.
Wait a minute. Give me a second. Catch a bubble. So, so 15 and 22.
So this is, and he just knew I looked just like his girls.
Mm,
I had done a DNA test, so I had already connected to people in the family who had also taken the DNA test. So, but one of my youngest, my baby sister, ended up taking a DNA test just to be sure that we got the right person, and
right.
yeah, we got the right person.
Really?
So he, I only got to see him 3 times because in March of 2024 he would pass away.
Mm,
But in those 3 times that I got to spend some time with him, I had more conversation with him and laughter and jokes and all the stuff than I ever had with my birth mother in all those years.
really? How many times were you in her presence?
Probably about 8.
Really?
Mhm.
And you had more good
More
time?
conversation in
Wow.
4 months,
Right. Mm,
which is why when he did pass, it was so hurtful because it was like we would have had a relationship for
right.
real.
Right. Exactly.
And I found out like where my love of music comes from.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
come from a family of real, like professional singers and professional musicians. And my birth father was the oldest of all his siblings, and he never knew who his father was until I showed up and told him who his father was. And of all
Tasha.
the siblings, he was the only one that played the bass
Mm,
because it was in his DNA. But nobody knew why he played the bass and why he around here singing and nobody else got it.
right. Are you
DNA.
serious?
Yeah, because when I found them, it the way the way my DNA, the way it was tracked, I found my grandfather first, who had already passed away. And then and it was his father.
Mm.
So I was able to show him a picture of his father. And he was just staring at it because he looked just like him.
Of course,
He
he's
looked
gonna
just like
stare
him.
at it. Yeah.
And he kept saying, "How do you know this?" And he would stare.
Mm.
"Now, who told you this?" And I kept having to.
Right. Of course. Yeah. Wow. So when you found him in that short time y'all had together, he embraced you. Y'all were able to
Yeah.
laugh. Yeah. Oh my God. And so that would have been tough when he transitioned.
Oh, so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll tell this story. He died on a Monday morning. You're going to make me tear up. He died on a Monday morning. Sunday, no, let me backtrack. Saturday, I had got stuck in the airport. I was traveling. And I had spent like 6 extra hours trying to get home. I got home super late Sunday night. And all day Sunday, I was just off. And I thought I was just tired. It was like something was just toiling inside of me. I was like, am I hungry? Am I tired? Like, I just couldn't, like, I wanted to sleep, but I couldn't sleep. And I was like, what is going on with me? I know yesterday was long, but I'm just wore out. I was just, got the call first thing Monday morning.
Mm.
That man was passing away, and I was feeling it.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
See, because I didn't know we were gonna go here. I definitely don't want, those big emotions to come out because that happens. You are because now you're dealing with the loss of somebody for the second time. The same person though. Dealing with the loss of the
And I
same
just
person.
found you. And I just found you.
Right. Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, wait, let me go ahead and put the the cherry on top. The last conversation I had with him, because he died in March, a couple of weeks before our birthday. The last conversation, um, he was like, "What you getting me for my birthday?" I was like, "I'm here."
Right. Right.
Done it
Yeah.
already. And I was
Exactly.
like, "What you getting me for my birthday?" He was like, "Me." Like we could joke like he
Right.
would kind of come in and out, and everything wasn't always clear, but and because my sister had called, we had FaceTime. That was just 2 weeks prior. And I remember being so excited to be able to wish him happy birthday.
Yeah.
I was laying him to rest the day before his birthday.
Wow. Hmm. Didn't expect for us to go here. I wonder, so I feel like I got to get checked out. Something must be wrong with me because I told you when my birth mother transitioned, I was just like, oh. And we had a very good relationship. We laughed, we talked. I was never angry with her like you, but I didn't feel anything. I don't know why. And the only thing I could say is that I lost her in 1978, not 2021. And I was just like, I have done all the mourning I could have likely done as a baby. I don't know.
Mhm.
But I understand for you because you missed out on him your entire life. And now he's really transitioning. So you really did experience the loss of him twice. Mm. Tasha, now when we were together in Chicago. Let me tell you what I noticed. Friday night, by the time I got to Navy Pier, like it was, you were so bubbly, and it was just like, oh my gosh, Tasha, we were just embracing each other, and everything was just like just all love, like it was with everybody else. It was nothing but love. And Saturday came around after we went to the 360, and then we were getting ready to have dinner. I noticed the shift from Friday night to Saturday night. But I always try to leave space for, you never know what someone is going through. And you kept that all to yourself until everyone returned home. And then you hopped in the group chat and you said, guys, I apologize if I seemed off Saturday night. This happened. And so you had learned about the transition of your biological mother a few weeks earlier, but then you just got the link to watch the service.
Yeah. So how'd that happen? Yeah, she transitioned at the beginning of September, like just September 2025. And for a series of reasons, I was very up in the air about going to her service. And it really had nothing to do with her. I was actually at peace with her transitioning. It was more about mourning the things that I never got to have with this side of the family.
Yeah.
And being a part of a family, this branch of my family that only bonds in trauma. And what I mean by that is like they only come together when this kind of stuff happens.
Right.
And I have been around twice because I was there for my grandmother's funeral. I was there. I had an aunt pass away. When her sisters passed, I was there for that. And I'm so glad that it happened the other way around. It was my aunt then my grandmother. But when my aunt passed away, I'm so glad someone had the wherewithal to take this big family picture with my grandmother still. She was still here. Because it's probably the last time that family's going to be together like that. Because they hadn't been together like that. And from what I understand, everybody wasn't even there when my mother passed away. But I had told my brother, I'm going to be in town already, because they cremated her, so they weren't in like a big rush.
Right.
The weekend of the first weekend in October. Originally, I was going to miss one of our functions and go. I was just going to slip away. I had told Kathy. But then, like, I told him, like, on a Monday. And then I told Kathy. And then the next day, I was like, girl, what are you doing? You're only going because society says you should be there.
Yeah.
You're getting ready to pull yourself away from something that you really want to be at. And I'm not going.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't, I just was not in the mood to be around the family just because she had passed away.
Right.
So I didn't do it. But I had given him this date and I had given him the time because I was going to slip away from Chicago 360.
Yeah. Right.
But then I was like, I was like, I was so corporate. I was like, after careful consideration, I did that. I will not be attending the service. And while overall he understood, he was really hoping I would change my mind. And so he left it for that day and that time. But to his defense, he knew I was in the city, but I never gave him, he doesn't know why I picked that day and time. You know, we didn't have that deep of a conversation. I
Right.
just threw out a day and a time. I never gave him my schedule.
Mm.
So he didn't know where I was, at what time. He didn't know. And when we got to Chicago 360 and we got upstairs, because he was hoping I would show up. And at that point, I'm not there. He knows I'm not coming
Yeah.
because I'm not there.
Right.
And the service
Exactly.
has started.
Right.
He drops the link in her obituary into my text message. So my phone goes off and I look down at my phone.
All the while, you're taking pictures,
I'm trying to hold it together.
trying to hold it together, trying to force a smile. Because what I remember about dinner that night, as the photographer was taking all of our pictures, there were two seats in the front. And she said, okay, well, we need two people to take these seats here. And in my mind, I said, well, that's perfect because the founders are here. We have Tasha and Kathy. Y'all can sit. And you said, no, 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 just let her do a job. Let her do a job. And I was like, oh. And I was like, I was like, something happened. I didn't know what it was, but I was like, why would Tasha not want to take the seat with Kathy and be, we're here we are. We're taking a group picture and you were absolutely experiencing loss
Mm-hmm.
again.
Again. But like I said, it wasn't so much about my birth mother.
Yeah.
It was what I never had with that side of the family.
Yeah.
And you know what else happened at dinner? I had a cousin who I haven't talked to in about 2 years. I stopped talking to her because ultimately I was like, the phone works both ways.
Right.
And so I stopped.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
haven't heard from this lady
Mm.
at dinner that night. She texted me. I was so annoyed. She was like, I'm not sure why you aren't at the service today, but I want you to know I love you and there's nothing I can do about it. Lady, get off my phone. Get off my phone.
See,
I never responded. Get off my
I
phone.
I don't mean to laugh, but
No,
why?
because it's like, what are you doing? You
Yeah,
didn't you didn't text me to offer condolences,
right, right, and
but
and
now
I
you're being nosy.
right, and I feel that because let's keep in mind my birth mother was one of three girls, right? She was the youngest. That family is so small. I only have three first cousins because
Oh,
one
what's
sister had two boys, another sister had one daughter. Small. My
mm-hmm.
biological family, very small, right? From what I know. Now, keep in mind, my adopted father was one of 17.
Oh,
Birth mother, one of three, right? So, and like I always say, the only thing that separated us was Queens because I grew up in Nassau County, Long Island. Queens, she was right there on the other side of Queens in Brooklyn, right there. No one came looking. No one wanted to know how Jasmine was doing. And so when she passed away, I was told they're wondering where Jasmine was.
are you now?
Don't.
So you get it. I was just
Right.
like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah. And
I don't
so
want to do this.
exactly. So I was kind of like, well, what do I look like showing up so that everyone can be like, oh, that's the daughter she gave up. That's the, for whoever everybody would be. But I was just like, I didn't want that. And like, I told you before, I kind of fell in the shadows, and I was just kind of like, why now? Why after all of this? There's still pieces of me I'm trying to put together, and I don't want to look like the token child that turned out to be okay
And
because
you
I don't
said
even know you.
earlier about not crying. I didn't cry until when we got done with dinner that night and I went up to my room. I talked to my brother that night. And for the first time I was able to just release.
Yeah.
And that's the one and only time that I cried. I just let it all out and I told him because we really hadn't had a deep conversation as to why I didn't go.
Yeah.
But that night I was just able to get it all off my chest.
Did he understand your position?
Hmm.
He did.
He
Good.
said he understands, although he doesn't know what it's like
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
an adoptee.
Yeah.
However, my brothers dealt with abandonment from her as well,
Yeah.
because she didn't raise either one of them.
Yeah. And that falls right in line with my older sister who you met in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Her story was very similar because she always knew who mom was, but
Mm-hmm.
mom was very absent.
Mm-hmm.
So she ended up being raised by the one of the aunts.
Yeah, my brothers were raised by my grandmother
Yeah.
because she wasn't around.
Yeah. How many siblings? I know you said your birth mother had one sister. Was it just the two of them?
Mm-mm. So she had, let me see, I'm counting. It was Sherry, Frankie, Gail, Sean. There's a total of 6 of them.
Gotcha.
My my her baby sister. Oh, here's this. Her baby sister. There's only 6 months between us. Meaning my grandmother was pregnant
With your birth mother,
with my
right?
mother,
Exactly.
which is
Oh,
another reason why. Well, I didn't know this, but when I
mhm.
met them, and then I saw the conditions I was I would have been raised in.
Yep.
And my older brother is like, I'm so glad you were not around because it was hard. And I would have had to look out for you
Yep.
and me in these West Side Chicago streets.
Right.
And so that's probably another thing that put into, they had all this going on. She already had a 2-year-old. I'm
Mhm.
pregnant and
Right.
you pregnant. We're
Right.
not keeping this baby girl.
Exactly. Wow.
Thank you.
Right.
Because when
Thank
I
you. Yep.
saw with my own 2 eyes, and to have other people, and my brother wasn't the only one. I've had other family members be like, girl, be
Yeah.
grateful.
Yeah.
And this is the family
Right.
saying, be grateful.
Yes.
Because
Exactly. Yep.
now
My
my
oldest.
brother, my oldest brother, he beat all the stats because he's
Yeah.
supposed to be dead in
Right.
jail. He's
Jail.
supposed to be,
Right. Right.
but he beat all the stats.
Instead,
He's
he
doing
doing the
one.
good work for the Lord.
He's doing, look, he's doing all the things.
Baby. What?
He's doing fabulous, and his wife
Right.
is fabulous, and their kids
Yeah.
are great. He beat all the
Right.
odds.
You see why that's and I always say one of the reasons why I couldn't be angry, no child wants to have a drug addicted mother. I said I didn't. I'm so thankful she made the decision because I didn't want to grow up in Bedford Stuyvesant with a drug addicted mother running the streets.
Mm,
Kids are mean. So while I would have been while I was worried about, oh, that's why your mother didn't want you, I would have had to be worried about, that's why your mother out there strung out doing da 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 da.
yeah. Because
What?
in something else, I never, ever, ever told my birth mothers, and so she never knew. But I did find her rap sheet. So some of the things that she would never answer, I was able to kind of piece together in this law.
Yeah. Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
it was from years before I found her, but
Yeah. And the crazy part is she passed away young.
mm-hmm, a hard life.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes baby, listen, when I tell you, sometimes I'll be trying to repent because I'll be like, God, I know I done messed up this time and I did it again that time. And I did it again that time. Lord, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I don't want him to take years off of my life. And sometimes when we don't understand the lives that we live, it,
yeah.
it, it, it comes to an end,
It
right? And
comes
it
to
comes
an
to an end
end.
quickly. My birth mother, by the time she found out she had cancer, she passed away like 4 months later. It was just, and I'm talking like her weight had dropped to what looked like 90 pounds.
Wow.
And so I was just like, okay. But in all of that, even though there was so much she had taken with her to the grave, I was still like, I still want answers. Even when she was sick, I still want answers. And I knew that wasn't the time to pick or get answers or probe or anything. So I just had to let some things go. And like you, I'm doing the work after the fact.
Yeah, and sometimes as adoptees, we have to find a piece, and you may never get the whole story.
Right, right. Absolutely. And that's the thing because Tasha, I'm there, but because my closest cousin on Ancestry shows a first cousin once removed, I'm just kind of
That's
like,
close.
it's so close. I'm like, it's so close. I feel like I'm right there. And so now I don't have to worry about being up and looking for answers like I did when she was still living, like in 2018, 2019. I'll be up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm trying to find answers. But now if I get an email, like, oh, I'm like, oh, I'll look at it later. Sometimes I'll give it maybe 30, 45 minutes and I'm like, okay, fine. But I'm just like, I'm still going to keep looking. I'm still going to keep looking because as adoptees, there's so much of us that we don't know. And because we don't have the same rights as kept children, it's kind of like it's so unfair. And I'm not against adoption, but I am against the adoption laws because they have to do some things that's right for us. If
Right.
y'all
Stop
really
holding on to these records.
seriously,
Because that's one, even though I found my original birth certificates, I just talked to somebody. He actually got a hold of his birth record, like his adoption, uh, like his case. It's like, how do you do that? What state you live in? Because
wow,
that's one thing I don't have that. I just have
right,
my. I would love to see it, but
yeah.
I don't have that.
By the time I found out my birth mother's name, my mom pulled out that raggedy suitcase. It was all the medical records that she had was in there. So I saw that I was born 6 pounds, 6 ounces, which I actually thought was a pretty decent weight for a woman who was carrying a child while using drugs. So
See, and
I was bugging off of that, but go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, and it never occurred to me until maybe like a year ago because there was a big age gap. And yeah, she was a kid, but I don't know what she was out there in them streets doing because I'm baby number two.
Right.
I don't know what was happening because neither one of y'all seem to remember either one. It might have been a hit and a quit. I don't know.
Right.
But I was 5'3". I was a little,
Mm,
tiny little baby.
yeah. Mm.
I
And
don't
so,
know.
and that's the reason why I asked earlier, like, was she essayed or
I
was
don't
she
know.
passed? Right. Or, because,
Right. Yeah.
you
I
know,
don't know because this is in the 70s.
right.
Let's give some context. This ain't,
Yes.
this when, this is in the
Right.
70s.
Yep.
Things were super different.
Yep.
These little girls out these they move super different.
Hmm.
It could have been something where he didn't know how old she really was. It could have been something as simple as that.
Right.
She might have been someplace she had no business being at
Mhm.
15. And I'm only saying this based on some of the stories I've heard from some of the older people in the family about how her and her sister was running back in
Mm.
them days.
Right. Right. And like you
So
said,
it just kind of leaves it up to
mhm.
who knows?
Right.
I
And
don't
with
know.
that, right. And with that, you're able to piece together, like you said,
Mm.
nothing is concrete, but you're able to piece together the rap sheet.
Oh, now that's concrete. I saw
Yeah.
that with my
Oh,
own two eyes. No. That's concrete. I saw that.
okay.
And that was, well, I won't give a year, but that's
Yeah.
concrete. I saw that.
Gotcha. Gotcha. See, and that's the thing.
And I never
There's
told her
so yeah, wow.
because
That's
she was very much, I was a house girl. I was a house body and I did this and I wanted to go to college and I wanted to do this and da 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 da. So I felt like she was very much trying to paint like another,
right.
like who she wanted me to believe she
Right.
was.
Hmm. Yep. Yep.
And so I
That-
let her have it.
exactly. Because even when I told my birth mother, I said, I don't see anything or anyone with the last name that you gave me, but I'm seeing all of these names, these Hollands, and I don't know who these people are. Your father was da, 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 da." And I was like, ah,
Isn't that wild how people will argue with you about DNA? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
seriously. I'm like, bro, like, you really wanted, I really wanted to have a moment where I was just wanted to be like, bro, are you serious right now? Because whether you know who these people are or not, these people are connected to the man you laid with. You, not me.
Right.
And so it's kind of, where are you going with this energy and why are you trying to paint this picture? I already know that you were out there. I already know that you were heavy in drug use. I
Right.
already know. So because I know that, I felt like it could have been a lot easier to say, you know, I honestly don't, your father could be anybody, baby. I was out there.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I could live. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
live
Yeah.
with that.
I could live with that. I really
You
could, because
know,
at least you're being honest with me.
you feel me? And
Yeah, I
so
do.
I at least would have been able to say, hey, I see these names, and you know, you might have been like, okay, well, ask them who their cousin or brother is, you know, whatever. But I don't know who these people are.
That's a
Okay.
generational thing too, though.
Very much so.
Hmm.
Very much so.
Hmm.
Because if she was still living, she would have been 75 this year. Like you
Oh
said,
yeah, definitely
that
a generation thing. We're not
that
telling nobody nothing.
generation, right.
Yep, it
That
ain't nobody's
generation,
business.
right. They talk about us, but baby, the secrets that
The
they keep.
secrets that they keep, and Dana out here telling, and they do
And
not appreciate it.
Dana blatantly calling you a liar to your
Calling you
face.
out to your face.
You're like, I don't know. See, stop playing with
Dana
me.
and them said something totally different.
Right. Dana is giving it straight
Mhm.
raw. And that's the thing. When you do that test, it says raw DNA. It says
It
raw
does.
DNA.
It does. It
Like Dana
does.
giving it to you straight raw, and you want to still be out here lying. Okay, you might
It
want to save that
does.
story for somebody else, because I'm already on game, and I'm trying to kind of give you a chance to just be like, hey, that's a possibility, but you want to hold on to that. Anyway, all right. Now, before I let you go, Tasha, when you and Kathy got together, why did y'all say, let's just get Black Adoptees together? What, like,
So, shout out to Miss Kathy.
shout out to Miss
Shout
Kathy
out to
Garland.
Miss Kathy.
Yes.
Or as I like to tease and say, Dr. Garland.
Dr. Garland. Yes. I love that even better.
um,
She's a doctor.
but yeah, she and I were just having a conversation one day, and we were just like, the white people have their space, and the Asians seem to have their space, and the Hispanics seem to have their space. Where are we?
Mm-hmm.
And we were just like, you know what? Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's go to Atlanta. Let's start there. It's a good, because she and I are both in Florida. Because a lot of people thought we lived in Atlanta. I still get that, but it was just a good middle,
Yeah.
and we kind of planned out a little weekend and just threw it out there,
Yeah. And it was perfect.
and y'all
I
came.
said, I said after Atlanta last year, I said it was the thing I didn't know I needed. And because of that, y'all had a brother come from the UK. I mean, we still got Cali represented, New York, Florida, the UK.
but
The
but
UK?
that listen, I remember after Atlanta, it didn't hit me, and I think I remember saying it at dinner. It didn't hit me until dinner Saturday night that, oh my God, y'all got on planes, y'all got hotel rooms,
Yeah.
and y'all came to Atlanta. Like y'all for real
Yeah.
came. It was, I think, if I remember, I think we had 25 people in Atlanta
Yeah. Yeah.
from as far as Cali all the
Yes.
way to Florida, all the way from New Jersey, Virginia, Ohio,
Yeah.
like, and so we was like, oh, okay. And for the people, just know we weren't even halfway through the weekend, and them folks was like, "Where we going next year?
Right.
Can we
Right.
finish?
Right.
Can we finish? Can we
Oh
finish?"
my God.
So, um, when we got back, she and I were like, "Where we going next?" And we landed in Chicago,
Yeah.
and she and I both have roots in Chicago.
Right. Yeah.
And we started planning, and I life hit me hard in the face.
Yeah.
And I couldn't think about nothing. So Kathy had to take that ball and run. And she did. It was this time for me personally, it was a little different just because other stuff was going
Right.
on or whatever. But the fact that y'all came and people, yet again, we ain't even halfway through the weekend. Where are we going next? Can we get through the weekend?
Listen.
So, they be ready to
Yes.
get on to the next year, and then we're not even done with this weekend. Can we
Right.
get to the weekend? But
It
that's
didn't.
how.
Yep. It didn't even matter where it was going to be next year. I just knew that wherever it was, I needed to be there. So we doing Philly next year, 2026. But
2026, we are going to Philly, and don't y'all ask me in the middle of the weekend what we're doing in 2027. Don't.
but here's the thing about the Black Adoptees Meetup. If you are Black and adopted, and if you are just now hearing about the Black Adoptees Meetup for the first time, we are family for each other that we did not know existed. You are walking into a room full of Black adoptees who have that commonality, and you can walk into a space where it's safe because no one's going to make fun of you about, oh, that's why your mother didn't want you. No one's going to say anything like that. When we sat down at these tables, whether for dinner at 360, Navy Pierre, it was like, oh yeah, I found out I was adopted at this age. I was adopted because, some of us, last year, we had some mixed race babies born to same race couples, and that's the reason why they were adopted. You have mixed
Mm-hmm.
race babies born to same race couples. So, this another man's baby, you got to go. These are stories that we don't know that are behind adoption, but when we walk into that space, we only knew to just love each other, complete strangers, embracing each other, complete strangers, just having that space and that empathy for each other to know that you and I have bond in this way. Not only do we bond culturally, but we bond through adoption. And that's the thing, because people don't understand, like we talked about last year, why is it just for Black people? Because Black people understand what it means when we hear, now I'm going to tell you now, when we get in that store, we know what that means. We know what that means. It's
You
a
didn't even have to finish it all the way out.
we know what that means. So culturally, we have that bond. So when we come into a room where we can bond in that way, right? Where we can bond through adoption, it made us feel like I felt whole
Let
walking
me
out.
tell you, I think Alicia said it best. She
She did.
said
I spoke to her yesterday. She did.
it was like going to a family reunion and you knew all of them people was your first cousin, but you hadn't met anybody. And when you got there, it was all love.
That was it. It was
It
perfect. The
was
way
all
she did it was
family.
perfect.
That's the that,
That's the way. That's the best way to explain
I'm still looking for verbiage
it.
to yeah, I'm still struggling for verbiage because it gets to a point that people are like, you just got to be there.
Yeah,
You just
right.
got to be in the room.
That's it.
You just got to be there. And
That's
then
it.
on the back end, then we started hearing, like you just said, and I've heard it so many times. It was the thing I never knew I needed.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you how many times I've heard
yeah,
people say that.
yeah. I didn't know it was a need. So, like I said in Chicago, if I had to get here on skates, I was going to be here because
Girl, y'all, she lives in Atlanta. She's from skate
I was going
to
to skate to
Chicago.
Chicago. I had to be there though. That was the thing. It was like I need to be with my family. That's how I felt, especially because I've been to Atlanta, Chicago. I needed to be there. So it was kind of like, and then as we know, the whole family dynamic, we had some people from last year that were, attended again this year. We had some people who didn't attend this year, was their first time. And then again, we had a brother coming all the way from the UK.
All the
It
way
was
from
just
the
kind of like, because,
UK.
girl, I said, what?
All the way from the UK. I'm
That
still
was
tripping about that.
right. That to me solidified just how important this was. Right?
And
That
I'm
was,
still, because he came on my show, but I'm going to have to ask him. I genuinely don't even remember how we even connected.
yeah,
I can't remember.
yeah. He knew how important it was for him to be there. He knew. He came from the UK.
All the way from the UK.
From the UK. And it just really speaks to what he knew was a need. I mean, you got this nice looking brother with the heavy, thick British accent. And and he's amongst all of us from Florida, Atlanta, New York, Cali, and we're just like, oh my God, like you did what? I came from the UK. And it was
Yeah.
just like, I know
Yeah.
you lying, but he was
Yeah.
not
Yes,
lying.
he
He was
did. Yes,
present.
he did. And
And
walked in
he's
a
like, he's
room.
family now.
Like real talk. We all are.
We all
That's
are.
what it is. It's the craziest.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
I'm,
Yeah. Right.
I don't have no words right now. I
No
can't even
words.
say a lot right now.
There's
I just don't.
nothing that, right. There's nothing that can really explain what it is. It's like when I after Chicago, I tried to go back and talk to people about it, and I don't even think they understood because you don't
There
have the
are no
words.
words. You don't have the words.
You just don't.
You don't have the words for the experience. You don't have the words for when you get embraced,
Yes.
the
Right.
hugs,
Yes.
when you see people like Jazz. I hadn't seen Jazz since Atlanta.
Right.
I
Yep.
hadn't seen the brothers since
Exactly.
Atlanta. When you
Right.
see people, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's just like a family reunion.
Just
And
like a
we still,
yeah.
everybody's still talking, everybody's
Yeah.
still posting, everybody's
Yeah.
still and on our way. And then, we had our little mini meetups, and depending on when this airs, like we've had our little mini meetups
Yes.
and our little
Yeah.
groups, and um, leading up to the big meetup in Philly.
Exactly, because we have to keep the momentum going. And again, you have, like, when I got back, like I told you, and I'm like, oh my God, you missed Chicago. And I'm telling another adoptee how this was. Oh, next year I got to be in Philly. I got to make sure I'm there. Just by word of mouth and social media, y'all, there's so much. We can do anything. That's all
We can do anything, and I will say this because I know when registration opens, if don't wait, don't sleep.
Right, exactly. No,
That's all I'm gonna say.
right.
Go on and register. Stop.
Right.
Go
We
on and
definitely
register.
want to do that. We're just excited. Like what the two of you did when y'all came together and said, we need to do this. Y'all knew there was a need. And it's a need. It's really a
It's a
need.
need, and I didn't know, and I know she would say the same thing. We didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had no clue. We was
Right.
just like, let's get the Black people, the Black
Right.
adoptees
Right.
together.
Exactly.
We had
Right.
no idea
hmm hmm
what this was about
Yeah.
to be. We
Had no
really
idea.
didn't.
No.
Had no idea.
Those of us who even attended last year for the first annual Black Adoptees Meeting, and I'm going to say that because it's the first, and we had the second, and next year will be the third, but it's an annual thing now.
It's an
Right.
annual thing now.
And we didn't know what to expect. And because I had spoken to Coco and Loss on my podcast earlier last year, I know the battery, right? So when I showed up, I'm like, okay. I actually think I was recording and just never posted it. But I looked and I'm like, all right, this punch bowl. I looked and I was like, yo, look, you would have thought we knew. I was like, Loss. He looked over, he was like, yo. I looked next to him, I'm like, Coco, she's like,
And that's the craziness of all of this. These are people that have literally met on social media. We don't even know each other in real life. For real. Like now we do. But before Atlanta,
exactly.
it was literally a bunch of people from social media.
Strangers, yeah.
Strangers.
Strangers to each other, who saw each other knew how you connected, who bonded, who stayed in touch. Like I'll text Coco now, like, hey, I know you're not gonna see this because it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, whatever, in LA, but hit me later. We,
and spouses,
and
our
spouses.
adoptee allies. Yeah,
Yes,
they came
absolutely.
too. Yeah, shout
Oh
out to
my
the
gosh.
spouses.
Shout out to the spouses. I mean, for real, because they're our support.
Yeah.
They are our support. Now, last year, my husband, he just works like a madman. That was Atlanta. Chicago, we got the dogs. He was like, well, who's going to keep the dogs? And I was
Didn't
like,
nobody tell you to go get
from
them dogs, but that's another podcast. We'll move on.
Tasha told me, ain't nobody told you. When I tell
We'll move
you,
on.
it's a lot of work, all right? But, Mr. Brown and Medea, they hanging in there, But it's I'm hoping that next year in Philly, Big Daddy is gonna be there with me, and Tasha be like, "Can you please stop with the name of Big Daddy? We don't."
Yeah.
Okay, I'm like, "But Big Daddy, we gonna have him there."
Well, see, that's what I called my grandfather. So to me, that's like, yeah, I'm one of the girls that had the big mama and the big daddy.
Right,
That's what we
exactly.
called yes. So that has a little different meaning for me, but
Right,
okay.
exactly. Right. Oh my god. Oh my god, Tasha, what else do you want to share or say or whatever before we go?
You said it
Y'all,
all.
okay, but
You
on
know what I do want to
Instagram,
say? No, this is what I want to
go
say.
ahead.
Y'all make sure y'all keep watching Once an Orphan podcast.
The Adoption Journey podcast. Mhm.
Y'all keep supporting her. She is the TikTok queen. Y'all go follow her over there because she is doing her thing. And listen, she has some wild stories. She be getting the tea. The
Sometimes
tea be piping hot. I'm like, oh my God.
we do deviate from the topic of
She
adoption.
deviates from the topic of adoption. And I said, oh my God.
Yeah.
Is she okay? Is she?
And the
Because
reason was, and I've told you this before, and I told you in Coco, because Coco be like, Coco, she be like, Jasmine, what are you doing? Who are you talking to? Like, and I'm like,
anybody she want to.
yeah, but see, in this season, I always say in this season of storytelling, it's not just about, it doesn't always have to be about adoption, put it like that.
I hear you.
Because people are really openly sharing their stories. Some people have survived murder. Some people have survived.
And they're on her show.
Yes, and they are on my show. I've
They're
spoken
on
with
her
Jeffrey
show.
Dahmer
She
victims,
spoke
all kinds
this.
of people, and I'm
So
glad.
the Once an Orphan podcast, y'all keep
And
supporting her, keep watching.
yes, thank you so much. And with that, the Adoption Journey podcast too. The handle is on the screen. Her name is Tarcia Smith. The website to the Black Adoptees, the Black Adoptees Meetup.org is on the screen. Y'all, you have to pay attention to what's being done. You have to pay attention to the movement. You have to know that you don't have to be ashamed anymore. You have to know that we are family, meeting and embracing each other and sharing our stories for the first time,
Yeah.
without judgment, without scrutiny, without being ridiculed. We're a family.
We are a
This is what
family, and they
family
are a
is.
bunch of clowns. Let me just say that. They will
Yeah.
have you laughing. It's a good time. Come to Philly. It's a good time. It's such a good time.
See, and the thing about it, the only thing we're missing is spades.
Jazz, go and close out the show.
Okay, all right. That's a cultural thing, right? The only thing we're missing is spades. And now, having said that, I also have to say that I never.
You're gonna have people fighting at the Black Adoptees Meetup. No, we're not.
With that, I also have to say I never fully learned how to play spades as a Black person. I'm sorry.
Give me your card.
I know.
Give me your card.
I'm gonna have Daddy teach me before we get to Philly next year, just in case while we at the hotel, somebody want to pull out a deck. I got a deck of cards. We just might do that. Just maybe.
Maybe. Okay.
But anyway, I just want to say thank you to you, Tasha. Thank you to all of you who have watched. Stay tuned because there is a lot, so much more coming from this movement. And we want to love and embrace everybody because the work that Tasha and Kathy put in, y'all, don't miss it. I can't, I don't have the words, but I know you don't want to miss it. So
Don't miss
thank you,
it.
Tasha, the host
Thank
of the
you,
Adoption
Jasmine.
Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of
I
course. And
really appreciate it.
I'm sorry that I just asked you at so late in the game,
Sorry.
but
I guess I'll forgive you.
yeah,
Now that we're
please do.
yes.